Welcome to the Product Boss Podcast, where we help product-based businesses grow their sales and improve their strategies.
Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to my co-host and biz bestie, Mina Kunlo-Sitep, an Amazon guru that has built a multi-six-figure product-based business.
And introducing the other half of the Product Boss, Jacqueline Snyder. She has helped launch and grow over 500 fashion apparel and accessory brands, even one of her own.
And together, we share our inventory of secret weapons that will help you dig deep and do the work it takes.
Are you ready? Let's build together.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Product Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Jacqueline Snyder, with my delightful and wonderful and amazing co-host, Mina Kunlo-Sitep. Hey Mina.
Hey Jacqueline.
So today we are going to break down the problems and solutions for every stage of your product-based business. We've worked with businesses from startup all the way up to seven-figure businesses, and there are consistent problems at each stage of business. And we've worked with so many of you that we have some solutions that we'd like to share. But first, I just want to read a review from one of our listeners on Apple Podcasts, iTunes Podcasts.
Whatever it's called right now, Apple Podcasts.
So this is from Anitra N. So Anitra, thank you so much for leaving a review. Anitra says, so glad I found you. Finally, a podcast that feels like you're talking to me. I heard you too on She Did It Her Way and immediately looked you up and subscribed. I love how you break things down for every stage in starting a product business. I was getting very discouraged when I realized I was going to have to go a different direction to bring my idea into fruition. And you two are giving me the hope and confidence to keep chipping away and not give up. Thank you for all you do. Thanks for sharing your experiences, challenges, and triumphs. Well, Anitra, we are so glad we could be there for you as you are navigating this product-based business world.
Thanks so much, Anitra.
So you guys, I know you hear us say it, but it really, really helps us if you are able to go on and subscribe to this podcast and leave a review and share it with anyone that you know has an idea and they want to start a product-based business, or maybe they're making something or they're an Etsy seller and they could really benefit from listening to the podcast. So thank you again for your reviews.
We do see a lot of similar things for every stage. So we want to kind of go over those struggles that we see, the obstacles that we see at every level, and help you guys kind of initially navigate through that.
So this podcast episode is actually sponsored by our programs. It's the Product Boss Masterminds and Group Coaching Programs. And we are going to break down the different types of businesses that would be in each program. So we have the Start for startups, the Build for product in hand to 4-figure. We have the Climb for 5-figure on their way to 100K. And we have the Top for multi-6-figure to 7-figure businesses. We have been on a ton of calls with you all in the last few weeks. We have our clients that we've worked with, and we've seen consistent problems come up. And so we really, really want to talk through these with you on this episode and let you know that our programs are open for enrollment right now. So if you are interested, head over to theproductboss.com/programs and we'll leave a link in the show notes. So starting with the start, that is the startup phase. So idea to startup, your foundational phase, and as Mina likes to call it, seed to startup.
Yeah, I like to call it seed to startup because startup can get so fuzzy when people talk about startups, because usually you're in the first couple years, but sometimes you're still in the idea stage. So when we're saying the start, we're saying it as the ideation, the idea, the seed, moving into getting a product in your hands.
And this is what I've done for the last 12 years with Designer Consulting Co-op, and I continue to do with my consulting clients, is that people come to me and they say, I have an idea. A lot of times you guys will find a need in the market. So those of you that have your businesses up and running, there was something that you either felt was lacking thereof, or maybe you were a crafter and you made something and you saw something really stick. But people in the start and people in that startup phase, they have this idea and they want to see if it's going to work for them. But the problem that I see the most for my clients and the clients that we've worked with at the Product Boss is that they have an idea, but they haven't actually flushed it out. They don't 100% know who their competition is, if it's actually their competition. They haven't done their market research to know again, competition, if it exists, and what the differentiating factor is that you can provide that's different than everyone else. So there's a lot of that research as well as your customer. So I know a lot of you want to sell it to everybody. Your range of your customer is, I'm selling to 18-year-olds to 65-year-olds. And so even that customer avatar idea is off a bit. So much at the very beginning of starting a business is fleshing out your concept, making sure that it's worth your investment of time and money. And then if and when it is, it's going into the next stages of development. So many people get their name before they even check to see if it's trademarkable. So all those fun things that we want to do first are great. But first, I feel like one of the biggest struggles is making sure that the concept is worth it for you to invest your hard-earned dollars into.
Yeah, I feel like when you're in that idea stage, it's twofold. You have to validate your idea in what Jacqueline is saying of who is your competition, who's your customer going to sell to, how is it going to come to light. But the other fold of that, the other side of that is when you bring it to market, what's going to happen then? So it's kind of like the before and the after. So before, when you have the idea, and then the after, when you bring it to market, can you get money for it, and can you scale it and sell it, and can you kind of align with your customer correctly? Is the gap truly there, and are they willing to pay for it with their dollar bills?
Like I had a conversation with someone this morning, and we were talking about, do we really need another activewear line, right? Do you really need another pair of yoga pants? Like
100% you do.
So the customer is there, right? But does the customer want to buy from you, or do some activewear stuff is like status symbol now? If you buy from certain brands, it's a status symbol. And so to win that person over when they would rather put on a brand name that they were hoping to save up for, or they like to buy into your product, is difficult. So then it's finding out that unique selling point, right? Like why? So even if your heart's set on it and you're going to create another yoga line, that's wonderful. But we need to tell your customers why it's different. Even if it's just that spin of what you put on it, right? It doesn't always have to be, it could be any spin, it could be made in Wisconsin. Like it doesn't matter, but we have to identify what that is. So I think the strengths that we have, Mina and I, are that I've done so much of that initial visionary work for clients and talked about what they want to do, what their goals are with their business, and is it something that they can bring to life, and also helping them focus down, right? Like focus on product. I think that's another big struggle for startups. They want to do everything. They want to throw it all at the wall and do everything. And sometimes it might be about an individual item or testing the market, like minimum viable product, because we also want you guys to save your money. And so I'm in that very beginning stage of fleshing out your names, your customers, your market research. And then Mina's like, okay, great. And now how are you going to sell it? Who are you going to sell it to? And then that warm audience. So we don't want you guys spending all this time and then launching and it's like at a cold start. You want to have a soft place to land.
Yeah. And you want to make it easy on yourself. Sometimes an idea, you feel it's so spectacular, it's so close to you, but you want to make yourself in a position that you're easily able to sell it. So there's that, they call it the elevator pitch, but the elevator pitch is more than just telling somebody this is why you should buy it. It's resonating with them. It's literally in the tiniest little nutshell why they should love you. So I think there's a lot of things that you can make it easier from the get-go if you have those pieces in place, that you'll be able to sell it really easily, even if selling is not your forte.
I think this is applicable to anybody in any level of business, because sometimes we get pulled away from this sometimes. So going back to it always is a core principle. It's a foundational aspect. So in talking about this, we wanted to share with you that we do have a group coaching program called The Start. If you are a startup business and you're in that ideation phase and you want support going through it, so you have not gone into production yet and you have product in hand to sell, you're still in that phase of fleshing out this idea. You might even be building your website and naming your product. We're at the very beginning stages. We do have a group for you. It is launching in September, but we are filling up the spots right now. This is in August of 2019. So if you're interested in The Start, you can head over to theproductboss.com/thestart.
So, all throughout this podcast, and as we're talking about our programs, we always talk about our programs and we call them our masterminds. And that's because even our group coaching programs, they have a mastermind feel just because we always encourage people to share their ideas and mastermind with each other. It's really synonymous in our minds, this group coaching and mastermind groups. So, this particular one is heavy into coaching because the startup stage needs heavy coaching. As we move further into the year, into the group coaching, it feels more like a mastermind because people can start to put input in because they're saying, here's what I'm doing or here's what I've done. And then it starts to lean more towards masterminding and rather than group coaching, I feel like.
Yeah. In the very beginning stages, you guys are still figuring this out. And a lot of times we've heard feedback. I don't feel confident to give my opinion yet. So as we start to see people warm up to it, or we know that you're doing one thing and the other person's doing something else, we might prompt you and say, hey, would you like to offer, hey, so-and-so, what do you think about that? So we do definitely start to try and pull you in, especially since so many of you have these amazing backgrounds in other arenas, right? If you're in marketing, if you're in sales, if you're a doctor, you might have opinions that some of us can't even pull from. And I think that's the beauty of the mastermind. And the group coaching means that Mina and I are very much involved in coaching specifically for your product. And the start is actually coached by me, and you get access to Mina in the question and answer sessions that we have once a month.
Yeah. So for the start, it is the hot seat calls or the group coaching calls are coached by Jacqueline. And then every single month, what is included is a Q&A, and I'm in there as well as the other groups, the build and the climb. They're also in there. Oh, and the top is also in the office hours too. So it's a big group of everybody in every stage, and you guys get that once a month. Also, there's co-working sessions that are led by one of our alumni, and you can just show up and work together when it's on those off weeks, because sometimes you need that weekly accountability. And even if it's just showing up and just working virtually together and hanging out. And what else do we have? Master classes is another one where you'll be taught by industry experts or myself and Jacqueline, and we'll be able to lead you in a certain way that you know will be beneficial to your business. Along with, you have a closed Facebook group for the start that you guys kind of use as your home base. It's for your communication, for getting to know each other better, and I think we all know that everybody's on Facebook. So we found it the best way to communicate for the in-betweens of here's what's going on and here's some questions I have.
And a lot of times people in the Facebook groups will put up their working online sheets, their website, whatever they're doing, a new product, and they'll put it up and they'll actually ask their group to give feedback, because once your group knows your business and knows it more intimately, they can give you more appropriate feedback than when you're kind of just posting it in our big general community where you got a lot of people with a lot of opinions and they have no idea the direction you're going and the goals that you've set for yourself. So
we have one more thing I wanted to mention that they get that I think is really cool because we really added this on.
Mm-hmm.
We call it real feedback. I actually call it real feedback times 2 because it's both myself and Jacqueline, double the real feedback. So 2 times throughout the program, you'll be able to say, hey, can you review this for me? It might be a line sheet. It might be your website, whatever you want it to be. And Jacqueline and I will review it, do like our own audit, and give you a video saying, here's our initial thoughts and here's what we think. Do you have to change it accordingly to whatever we say? No, you don't. But it's definitely real feedback that we're digging in and sitting down and chatting with each other and then giving you the live recording of what we thought about it. So it's so good.
I was going to say we might screen share with it. And if we're looking at your line sheet or we're looking at your website, we might say like, look right about here, take a look at this. So it's definitely really great feedback. And then it's not just posting it in the group, for example, you're getting Mina and I to actually look at what you're working on and help you through it.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those. So these elements are in pretty much all of our groups. The next group that we work with is it's called The Build. And that is for our product in hand to 4 figures, which means you're typically are in that very beginning stage. You've just maybe started selling and you haven't fully hit a stride yet with your sales.
Yeah, so this is group coaching, again, with a mastermind feel with myself and Jacqueline both. So we'll both be in those hot seat calls. We'll both be in those in the office hours. We'll still be doing the real feedback together and sending you the audit videos. So all of that is included in this. It's just that in this one, the difference is your product is in hand. Whereas the ideation, I like to say your product is in your head, it's in mind. This one, it's product in hand. You're selling or you're just starting to sell, and we're trying to get you to that next level of selling.
So, what would you say some of the biggest are some of the biggest struggles and problems for people starting their business? They have product in hand. Now, what?
Confidence, I would say, for this one, because now that you have your product in hand and you're starting to sell, you are hitting kind of self doubt and obstacles that you're unsure of what to do.
I think that people feel like they have to do all the things and they don't even know where to start. So you have your product and you expect, most of you are probably going to sell on your own website. Some of you might just be going to one platform, like you might be an Etsy seller and just selling on Etsy. So many times you have one place that you think you want to sell. The biggest hiccup sometimes is like social media. Social media feels super overwhelming. How do you show up on social media? Where do you focus? And so I think in this very beginning stage, it's like finding the focus for you, finding those first places that you're going to land. So the first 1 to 2 platforms that maybe you're going to try to sell on, the first 1 to 2 platforms that maybe for social media or visibility you're going to work on. And a lot of it too is just a lot of cleanup, I think, in the business. And then focusing and seeing if it works and then starting to make sales and make money, right? Because when you start to make sales, it feels like you're validating your product, you're validating your idea, and you have money to reinvest back into the business. And some of it might be trial and error, but you're not doing the trial and error on your own. You don't feel as scared because you've got the support of Mina and myself. You have the support of your group. And because I think a lot of people say, like, I don't know if I'm doing it the right way, right? And I don't feel clear. I don't know if I'm focused. And so we help kind of shine that light on the path for you and make sure that you feel like, okay, I have a direction and a strategy to walk towards. I'm going to try this, see how it unfolds, and then either keep trying it. Because like, let's say you go to a trade show and don't get sales. We're not going to be like, oh, never do a trade show again. We're going to talk about what happened.
I think that there's lots of things that you can't see for yourself, and you start to feel alone in it. And this group is just adding confidence to your decisions.
Yeah. And then just giving you direction. So helping you with all the ideas and then giving you that direction to walk towards and then keeping you focused. And I'd say so many of our clients have multiplied their revenue just from being focused. Right. And we know for all of you listening that a lot of you are doing almost everything in your business. And so it's also working smarter and not harder and figuring out what you can be doing, what you should be doing, how to batch your time. And that happens a lot in the startup, in the start, and in the build as you're starting to figure the whole thing out.
Yeah. So the next group, Jacqueline, is the climb. And that is for 5 to 6 figure.
So we created this one as a program. It's our signature program because we saw that this was kind of the sweet spot for you product bosses. A lot of you have your businesses, they're up and running. You're making revenue, a couple thousand here and there every month. But you really want this to turn into your full time. You want to sometimes leave your career, your side hustle, or, go full time into this business and grow it and support your families with it. And so most of you are bringing in 5-figure on your way to 100K, because when we asked people what their financial goal was, what would make them feel like their product business was succeeding, they said that they wanted to become a 6-figure business. And I'm proud to say that we actually, within our last mastermind group, turned our clients into 6-figure businesses. Like within months, they were starting to pull in above $10,000 a month in revenue.
Yeah. So the math on it, which we like to remind people of, is in order to be considered a 6-figure business, you have to make $8,333 a month, which is kind of why we set the price at what it is, $833 a month. There is a discount if you pay in full because you're 10xing your revenue. Right? So if you're paying $833 a month to a mastermind, but getting back $8,333 a month, then you're 10xing the investment that you've made. And I mean, that's just a no-brainer.
I imagine right now your revenue is $2,000 and we know you have cost of goods and you're bringing in your monthly and you're just bringing in 2,000. Now imagine if in 4 months your business started bringing in $8,000, $10,000, $12,000, $15,000. We saw that happen in our group within 4 months that they had catapulted their businesses forward. And a couple of those amazing businesses have signed back up because even though one of them said that she says that we're her lucky charms.
I love it.
Incorrect. You are doing an amazing job at your business. And we just had to sort of help you see which path and direction to go in because you have a product that's viable and you have a great business and the things that you do are the things that make your business so successful. And it's just keeping you guys on track and on path.
So some struggles, right? What are some struggles we see at this stage?
Okay, so the climb, I think, the 5 to 6 figure business, and what Mina was saying before, some 6 figure businesses, we have a few of you that have joined that are in that 6 figure range that don't quite feel like you have the struggle of the multiple 6 figure to 7 figure business yet. And you're still working on increasing your visibility, increasing your sales. Really, it's about growing your sales. So I feel like when you are at this stage, your biggest struggle is sales. You want more of them. You want to validate it. You want to make this business a viable business that actually can then start paying you a salary, supporting itself, actually having profits, and consistent revenue.
Yeah, I love this stage because there's actually data to pull from. So you know which faucets you can really get a flow in to make that revenue stream come streaming in. So whereas in the start, you're unsure of where to go because you don't have the data. With the climb, we help you see which are your best platforms where you can be making the most sales, the most visibility, and leveraging those all together. I think another big struggle in this one that I see is playing the big game. That was something that we had to help a lot of our people because they didn't want to make those couldn't see the big connection for themselves. So pushing you to do a big connection would be like, hey, you should approach these people and see how you can collaborate with them. You have all the assets, you have all the know-how, you have all the, personality, you can do it. And then that snowball, that's when the biggest shift will happen.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's leveling up and it's starting to realize in your business and the power of your business, what you can do, like these bigger connections that you can make that will start to level you up. If you are a cosmetic company, you end up in FabFitFun. I mean, that levels your business up. If you take on collaborations with people, that sort of starts to catapult you forward. So what can you do right now to really up level your business, that's what makes those really big jumps in your revenue and that support. So here's the difference now with the climb, now that we've entered into the next stage of our masterminds and group coaching. So this one is an absolute hybrid between group coaching and masterminding. So in this group, this is kind of how it goes. You get a hot seat, which means when it's your turn and it's on the schedule, you show up and you ask the big question. And what we do in this group is Mina goes first. Then we open it up to the group that you're in and they know your businesses. They've been with you. There's been introductions. You guys get to know each other. They're actually able to act as your own personal advisory board from their own experiences, from things that they've done that they've succeeded at. And they're able to give you advice. And so it goes Mina in kind of coaching and advice. Then it goes advice from your mastermind group, which is the point of a mastermind, multiple brains on working on your business.
And eyes, so many eyes.
Eyes, because there's things that even they'll bring up that Mina and I haven't even thought about, which is the joy of having a group like this. And then finally, I'm the finisher and I give my coaching at the end, and then we have accountability. Now, accountability is throughout the whole thing, but what we do is we end the call with your 2-week goals, and then we talk about what are you going to get done in 2 weeks. And sometimes some of you are like, well, I'm going to send out 5 emails to stores, and we'll be like, how about 20? So we'll push you in your goals and they're never going to be pushed where you're uncomfortable. You might be like, no, I've got all this happening. It can only be 5. But we need you to see, again, the bigger picture and take action in your business. And then when we meet again, we'll be like, how'd you do with your goal? What was the feedback? And so many times you guys come back and you're like, oh my God, I just got 5 stores. Great. So glad you called. 20 stores instead of 5 because you landed 5 of those for your wholesale accounts.
Yeah, this is where we're trying to take into account like the momentum and what we want to suggest that you guys lean into, because it's all about the momentum if you want to really make the revenue faster and get you to that next level, like what Jacqueline is saying, up leveling your business.
Yeah. So this group, we're close with all of our groups. This group, we are working on increasing your sales and creating the life that you want. So what's provided in this is kind of the same as the other two in the way that we have the group coaching calls. So just to let you all know, it is a 6-month program and they are 90-minute calls. And then hot seats, you'll get scheduled out your hot seat. So you get a hot seat question time, and then the group will give you back feedback. We have the co-working.
All recorded.
All recorded. So you get all the video recordings. So you can go back and listen, because sometimes you're just in it listening and you might be like, wait, what did she say? And it's there for you. There's the co-working sessions, like we said. So every week we're not on hot seat calls with you. You guys will get a 2-hour virtual co-working session hosted by the Mastermind alumni. So that's something where you guys will have time to show up and actually work and implement stuff that you wanted to do. Or you could be shipping and just want that time with somebody else next to you. Or you could be listening to our podcast. Either way. Then you get master classes, like Mina said. You get those monthly office hours where Mina and I show up and we help you with these pre-submitted questions. You get your private Facebook group. You get the real feedback times 2. So again, where we are, Mina and I are digging into something you've given to us to review for you and give you feedback. And then the thing that the Climb gets that's different than our other groups is you get free access to our vault. So in this, you'll get access and introductions to our preferred service providers, our templates, our tools, our trainings, and some mini courses. So it's not access to Multi-Stream Machine, it's access to some mini courses and things that we know will help move you forward. So we want to kind of take away that confusion and the fact that you have to Google all the things. And if we have shortcuts for you, we are going to give those to you.
Yeah, which reminds me, one of our big questions that we've been getting lately as we're filling up these groups is, how is this different than Multi-Stream Machine? And that can be answered in one word: coaching. So it's different because in Multi-Stream Machine, it's a do-it-yourself course that you're walking through, and there's a Q&A in there with myself and Jacqueline where we'll answer questions, but they're module-based questions. So if you have a question on one of the modules, we're doing that for our beta group. However, if you're in one of our group coaching and masterminds, you get actual access to us where you get to ask any question under the sun, really. I mean, we're open to whatever question. And it's not like module based or anything like that. It's what you're struggling with and what you want help with at that particular hot seat.
So some of the questions that we've been getting within Multi-Stream Machine that they want help on, and a lot of our Multi-Stream Machine students have signed up and joined the masterminds with us, which is excellent. So there's questions about, how do I drive once I get on Amazon? How do I, grow my sales on Amazon? Well, that's a coaching conversation, right? That's something that we're going to talk to, and it's dependent on the type of business that you have. We have another person that's joined the mastermind, and one of her big questions is, I'm going wholesale. How do I now increase my relationships with these wholesale vendors? What do I send them? How do I show them what I'm doing in the future? Those are coaching questions. So while Multi-Stream Machine shows you the platforms that you guys can easily access, it is still
and how to do it.
And how to do it, because we walk you through literally getting on Amazon and how to get your barcodes.
We call it implementation.
Yeah, it's an implementation program. We show you line sheets and cost sheets and how to cost things. We walk you through all of these steps, right? But these are the steps to get you to a point. And then the coaching helps you take that and maximize it. It helps you grow on that platform and grow your business to you and your needs.
Yes.
So, more than one word was my answer. The next program is called The Top. This is our purely peer-based mastermind. The Top is for product-based businesses that have multiple 6-figures to 7-figure businesses. So you're a multi-6-figure business for probably a couple of years, and you are managing teams, and now it's not necessarily about more sales every day. It's about more time in your life. It's about what kind of lifestyle do you want. And a lot of times you guys are bringing up competitors, because the bigger you grow, the more competition there is, and there's that ability to stay ahead. So I would say sometimes some of the biggest problems for 6 to 7-figure businesses is competition, right?
Yeah, it's so absolutely true. You become more visible and the competition is trying to nip at your heels while you're trying to manage your time and your team and figure out what your own role is, like how you want to make your life, what your lifestyle looks like, and where you want to be in your daily life, as well as where you're, stretching yourself to go.
And sales wise, sometimes, I mean, obviously everybody has a different goal of where they want to get to in terms of revenue. And so it's also just kind of acting as your strategic partners of helping you look, well, what's working for your business, what's not, where are the hiccups? Okay, you're doing these things and yes, they're bringing you in money, but if your resources, your time, your team were better spent over here, would this be better? Would it be better to focus on this versus that? So it really is high level. I think the difference in this group than our other groups is that we really wanted to make this a purely like a real mastermind. So it's peer based, where Mina and I are going to act as peers to all of you in the top. We are going to still offer our coaching and advice.
Because we can't hold back.
We cannot talk for short periods of time, unfortunately. But then these other women in this group in particular, because this group right now is just a female CEO level product-based business mastermind. They have similar struggles and they also have amazing accomplishments that they've done. So, whether they're a $2 million business and they are doing this, whether they're a $600,000 business, but they have a really fantastic online presence or virtual, video presence, there's things that each of them can pull from each other and see if it works to incorporate within their business. And then, the hiring, the firing, the growing teams, the stop doing this, you don't need to do this, hire that out. That's in this group where sometimes I think they just need a little bit of permission or the ability to say like, okay, that's okay if I do it like this, because now I have my people that get me and know that, and are telling me that it's okay.
The beauty of it is that we all know what the other people want. So we're able to give advice on, hey, I know you really don't want to be a, $15 million company and you really want your time. So it's really looking at the struggles that person has right then and there and helping them through it as a peer.
Or I want to be a $15 million company and supporting you on that. So
yes.
One thing that we say here in this group is like, I don't know if I say like mo money, mo problems, but there's things that come up. I'm really good at my accent. There's things that come up that are things that you can't really share with your friends or, maybe your husband or your spouse. But there's things that, if you had a $200,000 sales month, are you going to go to coffee with your girlfriend and be like, I just had a $200,000 in sales?
Yeah. I don't know if it's mo money, mo problems, because I feel like it's just mo money, different problems, or
different
mo
problems.
Money, still got problems.
Yeah. But they're just a bit different. And so one thing, it's just to be able to celebrate that, right? It's to be able to celebrate like a 6-figure month or hitting a revenue goal or making a really great hire or not doing certain things in your business anymore that you don't want to do. But also some of the things of like, this person approached me and wants to buy me out, or this really big influencer is doing this, or I have an amazing collaboration with so-and-so. It's just these bigger scale things. And this group has had such experiences. The women that are already signed up in here, their experiences are vast and incredible. And so I'm so excited to see, because we have somebody who owns a brick and mortar shop with an online presence. We have somebody who scaled an Etsy business to bring it off onto her own site and is making a ton of revenue. So we have different businesses coming together, and they're going to share those experiences with each other so that each person can benefit from that experience and see what they can quote unquote steal in terms of advice to implement into their businesses. So this group has a lot of the same stuff as the other groups. Like we said, though, it is definitely run like a mastermind, a peer-based mastermind. And then we are inviting everyone in this group to join Mina and myself's inner circle. And so as we are all juggling our businesses in the same sort of revenue range, we are wanting and asking you to be our peers as well. So we want to create peer and bond support or bond support. And also any sort of events or schedules that we have, like we are going to ask you all if you'd like to attend, meet up with us, have drinks, dinners, connect on a deeper level. And that's available to the top masterminders because we just want to support you in this role of CEO in your own business. And there are a lot of events that Mina and I may go to that will also benefit your businesses. So if you guys are interested, we've had an amazing, incredible response in the first week of launching these programs. There are still some spots available. So you can head over to productboss.com/programs. It'll take you to the same place. We'll have the links below in the show notes. We invite you to join and grab your spot as soon as possible and or apply, because there is an application process for the climb and for the top. And we'd love to work with you. If you guys have any questions, please email us at hello@theproductboss.com. And if we need to, we will jump on a call with you to discuss what group would be best for you.
We hope to see you guys in there. Thanks, everybody. This episode is over, but it doesn't have to end. Head over to our Facebook group, search for the Product Boss Biz Community, or the link is also in the show notes. Come connect with other product bosses just like you. We'll see you in there.
If you love the Product Boss podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, share, rate, and give a review on iTunes. Until next time, product bosses, let's make it happen.